Being the parent of children with disabilities is not the easiest thing. It takes a lot of patience, compassion, understanding, and empathy. And when I sit and I look at the last 10 years, I realize that there were jobs that I literally had to either resign from or let go of because of my children. And I'm not complaining because that's my job as a parent, right? But people who don't have children with disabilities, they don't understand how much more difficult it is. Having children alone is not an easy feat. And add in a disability with that, and you have created a complete tsunami. I have navigated being a single parent as best as possible. And when I think about how things were when I had 2 jobs and was trying to raise children, I just remember how chaotic it was for me, how chaotic it was to hold a job. And while that initially wasn't the deciding factor, it was something that pushed me to start my own business. That being said, going back to a traditional job after 7 years of not working a traditional job is worrisome. Only because I have children that have disabilities. And last year, I was constantly getting calls from the school for my son. It was like every other day they were calling me for something. He had done something, said something, he got into an altercation. It was just, ugh. And so thinking about going back to a full-time job, while I know I have to bite the bullet and I just have to do it, it also worries me because it's like, is this going to be the same as it was before? Is it going to be hard to maintain this job when I'm getting calls from the school every other day? I try to give my son the benefit of the doubt that he has improved, and while he has made improvements, he still has his ways. My son has ADHD and a social emotional disorder. He's not very good with boundaries, and he doesn't like injustice. So if he sees someone getting bullied or something, he will stick up for them. And while I am proud of him for that, I also know that sometimes he can stick his nose in other people's businesses where it ain't got no business being. Which leads to him getting in trouble and me getting a phone call. I try to remain positive. I am very optimistic that he will do better this year than he did last year. I just also know that I'm going to continue to get calls from the school. And so how is that going to translate into a full-time job? All of this came up because yesterday he had a breakdown and he had a full-blown tantrum because he asked me for one thing, I gave it to him. And then he asked me for 5 other things, and on the 5th thing I said no, and he just had a complete tantrum, breakdown, he hates me, all of this nonsense, and then fell asleep for like 5 hours. And when he got up, he acted as if nothing had happened. And I'm just like, what? So, dealing with his issues has been very informative. I learned a lot, right? As far as like dealing with children with social emotional disorders and just the ADHD and all of the things. And so I thought about the job that I didn't get and how I would have been able to navigate that job and single parent, being a single parent. While I don't like how the whole job situation happened, I always know that there is a silver lining, and so I look for that. And so when today I was up till 4 o'clock this morning, I overslept. There were things that I was supposed to do. I ended up not doing that. I did go and get the deep conditioner that we needed so that I can do my daughter's hair before she starts school Monday. And then my son starts school next Monday, so I have time to deal with him and his stuff. I just realized, like, what if I would have gotten that job and then had to quit because my son was having issues at school? So while I'm grateful that I didn't put myself in a position where I would have been jammed up, or it would have looked really bad on me having to leave work and find a way to get to my son's school to pick him up, or have to stop work to take a phone call to hear about what my son did. And I'm just like, you know, when we change how we look at things, perspective, I talk about this all the time, we realize that sometimes things work out for us. I received an email back from the other job that I was applying for, and what they are requiring of me, I'm just debating on whether or not it's a good fit. Not every opportunity is a good opportunity for you. Just because a door opens doesn't mean that you should walk through it. Just because I was offered an opportunity doesn't mean that I should take it, because does it really work for me and my family realistically? Realistically, I would have had to find my way back and forth to work had this person not been going to work. I would have had to find my way away from work and to the school had something happened with my child. And I don't have transportation right now. So it would have made things really hard for me. These are not things that I looked at beforehand. These are things that are happening, or that I'm seeing now, that the blinders have come off. Sometimes when we think things are not working out for us, it's because something else is supposed to come from it. It's because you're supposed to take the other opportunity and not just take this one just because it's what's offered to you, what's given to you. And I think that as a society, we have been trained to I'm trying to think of the saying. It's beggars can't be choosers. And it's like, if someone is doing something for you, you have no right to ask for more. Or if this thing is being given to you, you don't have the right to say, no thank you. But that's bullcrap. Because when you don't want something, you say no thank you. You don't have to take it just so you don't hurt someone's feelings. As someone who has been a business owner, I understand that not everything that I have to offer is going to be wanted. And so therefore I know when not to push, and when someone says no, no means no. I saw something today while I was downtown at the hair store, and this person was saying no thank you to this guy that was offering something. I don't know what he was offering, but she kept saying no thank you, and the guy was just trying to like force her to take it, and eventually she just got mad and she was like, I don't want what you're offering. Why are you not respecting my choice? And that prompted my ADHD brain to go into a whole spiral. We have a choice. We have a choice in what we accept and how we accept it. We have a choice. And while society has been very, very good at making us believe that we don't have a choice, we really, really do. I had a choice whether or not I entertained that job offer. And I chose to, which led to me getting disappointed when, had I said no from the get-go, which I did, and it was just like repetitively, and I was just finally, I just gave in, right? Had I stuck to my decision from the get-go of, no, I'm good, thank you for your offer, but I'm all set, I wouldn't have experienced the letdown 4 days later. And so when we come across things, we feel as if, oh, well, I should accept this because it's being given to me, or I should accept this because that's what's being offered. But that's not necessarily the case. Y'all, bear with me. My neighbor is doing some woodworking, and they are working on part of the house, so you will hear some noise in the background. I will try to just speak over it. But if it gets too unbearable, I understand, and you can check out one of my other videos. So that being said, the offer does not mean that it has to be accepted. The offer is, well, would you like this? And it's either a yes or a no. Red pill, blue pill. We, as a society, we feel like, well, we've been trained to feel like if a gift is given to us and we don't like it, we should just accept it anyway to save face and not hurt the feelings of the person who gave it to you. But my question is, but what happens if you accept it and then they find out later that you accept it even if you didn't like it? To me, that does more damage than if you would have just said, that's not really my thing. I appreciate, you thinking about me. I appreciate the offer, but no thank you. I'm the person that likes the truth. I don't like it being cookie cutter. I don't like cotton candy and fluff, and I don't like bunnies. You can keep all that fluffy stuff to yourself. I appreciate the truth in a respectful manner, right? And so when I saw what happened, I was like, he didn't listen. When she kept saying no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until she finally exploded. And then he's standing there like, well, why do you gotta be so rude? Because you didn't listen to me the first time. The same thing goes for our bodies. Our bodies will tell us, if you pay attention, your body will tell you whether or not something is right for you. Whether or not you choose to listen to that intuition is up to you. And so when you don't listen and then something bad happens or something distasteful happens, you're like, well, why? Because you didn't listen. We literally have a compass. Our bodies are compasses. It can tell you when a situation does not feel right. When you walk into a room and there's tension, you know. When you walk into a room and it is just great vibes, you know. When you encounter a person who is and they're walking around you know. Now, sometimes those people, unfortunately, they let outside circumstances affect how they feel inside. They walk around mean and upset and just woe is me and I hate the world. You want to walk around like that? Cool. Not my business. don't try to make me feel how you're feeling. Don't try to, because you're feeling some type of way, you want to be a jerk and you want to be an asshole. I get that part of it, but like, if you have an option, okay, I see that this person does not want to be bothered. Am I going to continue to pursue this and possibly get cussed out? Or am I just going to move on to the next person? Because where there are 1,001 no's, there is a yes or two. You don't have to keep barking up the wrong tree. You just got to move to a different tree in a different section. Like, it's literally one of those things where it's like, everything is a mirror, and everything around you can show you what you're not seeing. What I didn't see in the job situation was, just because it was an offer doesn't mean that I should have taken it. Yes, was it a higher paying? Yes. Did it offer me all the things that I needed? Yes, but was it realistically going to work out for me? And the answer to that is no. I caused the whole situation by not sticking to the original no. And I indulged in this, and I led myself on, and I didn't look at the red flags. And so I ended up in a situation that was distasteful. While the other party, may or may not take responsibility, I take responsibility and accountability for my own actions and feelings. And when I saw the lady go off on the man, I was like, you never know what's going on in someone's life. And if you have the opportunity to encounter someone who is using their autonomy and sovereignty to say no thank you, respect that and move on. Don't continue to push and push and push, and then, oh my God, I'm the victim when something is said that you don't like. I was upset about the situation, yes, but I understood that there were things that I had overlooked in my urge of needing, this quick fix, and I caused myself distress when I didn't have to. That being said, my son, he does the same thing. He will push and push and push and push, and then when he doesn't get the response that he wants, he gets all upset and pissy. And I'm like, okay, how can I show him what he is doing and how he can change those behaviors to get a more favorable outcome? So we had a talk today, and he did apologize. And while I don't understand his logic, I do understand why he may think that it was just going to blow over. This is something that we've been working on for quite some time, is his reaction to being told no. You caused your body and your nervous system to have an overload because you were upset about something that you couldn't get. And it's like that thing where it's like, everybody loves you while you're saying yes, and the minute that you say no, you're the bad guy. So I told him, I was like, I gave you what you wanted. You asked me for this, you asked me for that, you asked me for this, I gave it all to you. And then when you asked me for the next thing, I was hesitant. And then when you asked me for the fifth thing, it was a straight up no. Because now you're doing too much. Right? All you had to do was stop while you were ahead. You got the 4 things that you wanted. Why'd you have to add on something else? You literally created a situation out of nothing. It didn't have to go that way. But you were doing too much. You wanted. And so when you try to take, and someone finally just be like, nah, I'm done, I'm tapped out, you can't get upset. you cannot get upset. And so while he understood where I was coming from as a kid, I think that he doesn't really get it. He says he does, but that's questionable. So we'll see what happens the next time around. I worry that if I get a full-time job, I'm gonna lose it. And I worry that if I get a part-time job, I'm not gonna make enough to take care of my family. Everything is a mirror. And so I'm at this impasse where I'm like, okay, well, do I get 2 part-time jobs so that I can navigate my schedule to leave room for if a situation arises? I'm not hoping that it will. I just know my son. And I'm hoping that he will have a better year than he did last year. That does not mean I don't expect a phone call. I'm a very realistic person. I know a phone call is going to come because I know my son. But I also know that I need to be able to be available to take those calls when they come. I've also talked to the school about whether if it's not an emergency, just email me. I will be able to read the email, but you calling me while I'm at work this year is not gonna work. It's not gonna work because I'm not virtual. I am in person now. I'm working in person in an office. I can't always pick up the phone. So the lady said that she will pass the message along unless it is a medical situation where my son has been hurt and I need to know right then and there, and or something happened and I need to come and get him. Don't call me. Not while I'm at work. You can email me. You can even text me, but just don't call because I can't leave unless it's an emergency. Just don't do that. And so she said she would relay the message to the team. And while I'm grateful for that, I know I'm gonna have to say it a couple of times to a couple of different people for them to get the point. That being said, I've also talked to my son, and I told him, listen, I'm not doing what we did last year. I have to get a job, and if I'm at work and I have to get a phone call that you stuck your nose where it didn't belong or something happened, I'm gonna be very upset. And you will not be getting going places or getting on a PlayStation or having access to your phone if you're acting up in school. That's what we did last year, and it worked out better for him because he knew, okay, well, if I act up, this was more towards the end of the school year though. If I act up, I'm not going to get access to these things. So towards the end of the school year, he started acting better. But I also understand that being ripped away from a school that you're comfortable with where you have friends and teachers know you, it's hard to be ripped away from that and put into a school where people don't know you, they don't understand your quirks, your triggers, they don't understand your IEP, they don't understand these things, and then trying to make friends. So I kind of was like, okay, well, you've gotten to the end of the school year to figure it out because we're not doing this next year. And so when I had the conversation with him today about school and me going to work and everything, he was like, Mom, I'm gonna try my best. And you know what? I'll take that, because what I don't want to do is set him up to fail. And so if I say to him, no, I need you to do it, instead of accepting I'll try my best, it's telling him that his best is not good enough. And I never want to be that parent to tell my child your best is not good enough. I need you to try your best. And if along the way something happens, at least I know your intention was to try your best and you will do better next time. I think that comes from, again, trauma, because my mother If I wasn't a straight A student, it wasn't good enough. If I did, something and I did it 98%, the 98% wasn't looked at. It was the 2% that I didn't do, or the 2% that I got wrong, that was focused on. And I, as a parent, I don't like that. And so when dealing with my own children, I have chosen not to take that route. I want them to know that their best is good enough, and you can still improve. There is still always room for improvement. Even with myself as an adult, there is always room for improvement. That being said, I have things that I have to work on as a parent, as a mom, as a single parent. And no, those are not all the same bulletin, because being a single parent is different than having a two-parent household. And being a parent and being a mother are very different as well. And so I am navigating the best that I can and making lemonade out of lemons. I love my children, and I know that I'm doing my best, and I know that we have to have these talks, but I know that they're doing their best as well, and they can still get better just like I can get better. I am not perfect. My daughter has things to work on as well. Like I said, we all got things we have to work on, but I know that this job thing didn't work out for the best, for my best, for my children's best. And while I didn't see that before, I see that now, and I'm grateful. Life is a mirror, and if you don't like what you see, figure out how to change that reflection. If your life is not reflecting back to you what you want to see, figure out what you need to do to change that reflection. Whether it's asking for help, or hell, just getting a therapist, to have someone to talk to, do that. When I was brought up, there was who, therapist where? We weren't brought up like that. We were brought up like, whatever happens in the home stays in the home. You don't need to go talk to nobody about nothing that goes on in the house. Keep your mouth shut. What goes on here stays here. All that, blah, 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 blah. And I think that it really traumatized us, because there were a lot of things that were happening in the home that were not supposed to be happening, that traumatized us. And trauma it's very hard to heal from. We're all doing the best that we can with what we were given. I had a set of cards dealt to me, and I'm doing the best that I can with that. It's not my package. I need my shampoo. I need my set so that I can do my hair. We are all just doing the best that we can with the cards that were given to us, and you should never get on yourself about it. Just know that you can do better. If you mess up, it's okay. Do better next time. If you fail, it's okay. What did you learn from that situation, and apply what you learned, because you can't continue to go through things and not learn from them, because if you do, then that's not going to get you anywhere. You learn from you're supposed to learn from everything. Every encounter, everything that goes right, everything that goes wrong, you have to learn how to tweak things and just redo the parts that you messed up on. Improve where you feel like, oh, I didn't do too good with that reaction, or I didn't do too good with that situation. How could I have done better? They say out of sight is out of mind. Out of sight does not mean healed. It just means you're not being triggered right now. It's like when you have an ex and you're like, I'm completely over that ex, and I'm done with that situation. Yeah, well, that usually lasts for about as long as you don't see the ex. And then when you see the ex, all those feelings boil up, and all of the things, and you remember all the things that were done, and so now you are triggered. Out of sight, out of mind does not mean healed. It just means you're not being triggered right now. And I don't know why I come out here and all of a sudden I'm burping. It's a thing. Yeah, so out of sight, out of mind does not mean healed. It just means not being triggered at the time. So give yourself grace, because you are going to encounter things that are going to trigger you. And when you get triggered, you need to know how to deal with it, because clearly it was swept up underneath the rug. Sometimes we don't understand how much something affects us until it's right in our face. And with that, I am going to go ahead and go. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.